Akame got killed. Episode 11, Kill the Mad Scientist. Definitely a great action episode. It was pretty much all action the whole time. We got 2 new members for the team, which is pretty cool. We don't really get anything on the second member. She was just like a girl in the hood, and then it's just like, oh, headphones with butterflies, and she smiles like, oh, fight's over, smiling, and then that's it for her character. But definitely a great episode. For one of my favorite things was not only getting to see the new character fight, but we finally get to see one of, like, pretty much the only person we hadn't seen fight. We still haven't seen the boss fight, but the guy with the strings, and of course I can't think of his name right now, but getting to see him fight was really awesome because I wanted to see his powers work. And the only time we really got to see him use his powers is when there were like a couple of people that they had to kill, and he had to kill that lady, like in the cave. And he was like, it's a shame because she was so attractive, but he like split her apart. But it was really cool to watch him fight because we got to see him not only use his strings as like shields when he got hit in the stomach, but we got to see him. Apparently, he can form the strings together. I love the fact that he found the idea for the spear in a manga, which was really funny to me. Also, the guy says manga, not manga, which I thought was just interesting because I know there are people who give a crap how it's pronounced, but I don't. But I just thought it was interesting that he said manga, not manga. Um, but watching him fight was really cool, and he seemingly takes out the first enemy, and then it can like spin his neck around and stuff. But he takes it down with the spear. We get to see Akame fight against a guy who finally, I think this was the guy that officially answered my question when I was trying to figure out what in the world is up with Seiryu. Basically, it answers the question. Like, people can just be like full on robots in this show. Like, it's kind of glanced over, admittedly, and they also still have blood, even though they've clearly been like filled with blades and guns inside of them. They still have like blood come out and everything, which I just find so weird. But they can still have like blood come out and all that stuff. But they can be like full on cyborgs pretty much, and just have weapons all over the place. But it was cool watching that guy fight because he had like it was very weird because he had like the blades in his shoe, but they weren't just like, oh, a little blade sticks out of the shoe, which we did see in this episode against the guy with the hat who tried to kill Leone. But he just has like full on axes come out of his shoes, and that was pretty cool. And so he fights Akame. She's just slice him into pieces, and he doesn't feel anything. So he's different than Seiryu because she felt when her arms got chopped off and she screamed in pain. But that guy was talking like, oh, I don't feel anything. And he couldn't be killed because he was pretty much completely mechanical. So he couldn't be killed in one hit by Akame's blade. So that was interesting as a little question. It makes me wonder if Akame fights Seiryu, if it'll be the exact same thing where she's just full on, she's basically all mechanical. So I thought that was kind of cool that they actually explained it a little bit better. Oddly enough, without Seiryu even being in the episode, they explained it with a totally new character who he's gone now, so it doesn't matter. But I liked that fight. Everyone coming together towards the end was pretty cool, and then everyone got knocked out because I would have loved to have seen the whole team fighting. I thought that was going to be a really cool scene, but it still ends up being cool because we get our new member who is actually like Seiryu's dog, and he's actually a human organic where his core has to be destroyed for him to die. So I hope we get a full-on answer for that because I would love to know how that came to be. But he was really awesome. My favorite thing about him was when he first showed up, I was like, he just has a really sweet design. It's very symmetrical. I love the colors and just the style of his character. It was really cool to me. His weapon was pretty interesting too. I was like, okay, so he has like, pretty much just a staff with like the bulge at the end to knock people down. And then these little saw blades come out and they just start spinning. And then he just waves it and it's just like, people just get like explode into little pieces and stuff. And I was like, that's really cool. And like when the explosion went off before we find out that he can regenerate, when that explosion went off and he made that look, he was just like, I'm so badass, I don't even care. And that's exactly what happened in that scene. He just looked at the explosion with zero expression on his face, and then he just healed, and it was like nothing. And I'm wondering where his core is, because we saw like a little thing was sticking out of like where his arm was. It was like a tiny little thing was sticking out, and then he healed. So I'm wondering exactly how the core works, because I don't believe we've seen that just yet, because they didn't get it right with Seryu's, so we don't see exactly like what the core is or how that operates. Because basically, like if mine shot the core, it would kill them. But like if Akame stabbed the core, would that do the same thing? Does it have to be like completely obliterated, or can it just be like, is it almost like a heart where you can just stab it and almost, it's kind of like a core, so it would shatter instead of just bleeding out or whatever. So I do have that question. It makes me wonder. Um, him being the character that he is was definitely pretty cool. He's definitely the stoic type of character. He wasn't saying anything, pretty much. He only said, like, yes, ma'am, and fixed when he went to Mayans hair, which I knew was going to be a funny scene. And I was like, he's going to do something. And I'm like, I don't know if he's going to help her up and it's going to be funny or how it was. And then they just show her hair and it's just like, swing, fixed. And I just love that. I was like, that's really funny. So he has like a quirk about like frizzy hair, I guess that's going to be his thing. So I thought that was really cool. I'm excited to learn about this new character. So, she seems cool. She has a cool design. It made me think of Ruby from the show Ruby. So now it's just like anyone with a hood that's also like a cape. That's all I'm going to think of is Ruby, unfortunately. Or not, unfortunately. It's a great show. Check it out if you haven't. It's amazing. But that's all I thought when I first saw her. I was like, oh, Ruby, or like Little Red Riding Hood. And then I like her headphones. I thought it was cool that, her design comes with like headphones. Curious if that's somehow her Imperial Arms or how that's going to work. But looking forward to knowing more about her, as well as the other new character. The action, of course, was really cool. Leone coming in to kind of get revenge on the one guy was definitely pretty sweet. Um, there's one other really cool thing. The other thing that was actually really cool was answering the stuff with like Lord Stylish, and it kind of answered. It was almost in partnership with the guy that Akame fought. He basically talks about how he built those three people, and so it's like one has the giant ears so she can hear, one can smell far, one can see far. He built all three of those people almost. It seemed like they were almost living Imperial arms, but at the same time, like he mentioned, like, oh, I built you guys, but basically he made like AI in a sense. So it's kind of weird. It's one of those things, and I mentioned this before. There's almost like a lot of lore that they kind of don't talk about, and it makes me want to read the manga so much because it's like, okay, so he totally built three humans who don't just follow orders, because when he was eating them, the one girl was trying to run away because she was in fear, and so it's like he made them, but they totally have emotions. They aren't just like, oh, master, we do this or do that. He like flat out made organic humans that live and breathe and think on their own. Like they follow their orders, but if he built one and it wanted to rebel, I guess it could because they think, for whatever they want to think. So I thought that was really interesting. It was like, okay, so he flat out made them. The people that were sneaking into the hideout were actually just a bunch of criminals that were going to get killed anyway. And then he himself had like a serum, and he fused his own body with a danger beast. So it was like basically him on top with like the super long gray Dragon Ball Z hair, and then the giant beast underneath. And that was pretty weird. And then I don't know how, but it had like the metal arm that was like the boss's arm. So that made me a little curious, like if her arm is actually from a danger beast, which I guess it would be if it's an Imperial arms. They all are, except for I guess the human ones. I don't know, obviously, but I thought that was pretty interesting. Like just him, some of the dialogue they had, and it's like, okay, so people can just make other people, but they aren't robots, and there is magic. They have the danger beast, and it's magic, but they don't say it's magic in the show. And I think I talked about that before too with the Imperial Arms. Like it seems like it's magic, but they don't say magic. So it was just interesting. Like okay, he just flat out made these people. I thought they just had really weird Imperial Arms. To be totally honest, I was like, those are the weirdest Imperial Arms they could have ever made. Like they just made giant ears, and then he was like, I made the three of you for like recon and not hand to hand combat. And I was like, oh, he created these three things so they're not actually people. And I just thought that was insane. Like, huh. Sort of changed my idea of what they could and could not do in the show. But I like this episode. Definitely a great action episode. We get 2 new members. So like I said, I'm looking forward to getting to know more about them. With the fact that they killed Stylish at the end of this, considering how far out they are, like in the forest and everything, I guess they aren't going to be captured like I thought they would, or they aren't going to have to move to a new hideout. He gets killed off, and I guess he just had his whole team with him that whole night anyway. So it's just like, boom, that's pretty much it. So they've all been killed off, and he's dead as well. So no one's gonna know. He's just gonna be missing. He's off of the Jaegers because he's dead. So the hideout is now safe again, which really surprised me. I thought for sure he would have found that out and then, gone back. But he thought he could take care of it, and unfortunately, fortunately for us, because they're the good guys. But unfortunately for him, he failed and he totally died. Um, what did he say? He wished his death had like more panache or something like that. So I thought that was really funny. But it definitely fit his over the top flamboyant character for sure. I love that. But I really like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. It was good to see that there was no death, because I was admittedly a little worried that someone would die. This was just a nice heroes win episode. There was no real danger outside of the Leone stuff. Which I didn't think she was dead anyway, because I was like, it was just too fast of a death, and I was like, she's not dead. Like, even when I first saw it, I was like, I doubt she's dead. So, that was fine. It was like a little twist, but not really, because I was like, meh. But it was a great episode. Definitely want to know what you guys thought, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And I want to know what you guys think about our two new characters. We, of course, don't really get anything on the girl. But as far as the guy, I want to know what you guys think. And just any speculations you guys might have for the girl as well. I feel like her headphones could possibly be her Imperial Arms. But I highly doubt it, because we haven't really seen an Imperial Arms that's just like, oh, it's just a generic looking item. It's either like a weapon based thing, or it's a suit of armor, or something. Like, it might be weird, but it kind of looks like it would be an Imperial Arms, like Shield's weapon, which makes a comeback in this episode. I kind of forgot about that, but mine kind of gets revenge a little bit. She doesn't exactly get Seiryu, but she kills the guy who took Shield's weapon, and she obliterates that guy. And I was wondering, because it was like this insane atomic laser type thing that just disintegrated him, I was wondering if Shield's weapon survived, but it does, so they have it back, and I think that's actually really cool. And now I'm kind of wondering if the girl will actually get that weapon, but I kind of doubt it. I feel like she probably has her own as well, or has her own already, but who knows, we might see how that plays out. But like I said, I want to know what you guys think, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.